In this video, I'm showing you the roadside relics and hot rods we spotted on our way to a weekend getaway in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. Now, this is a tourist town, and it's known, at least in the car world, for its big car shows. There's a few times a year that this town gets completely covered up with hot rods and muscle cars, but we actually try to go during the off-season, mainly because the hotels are a little cheaper, there's less traffic, we can actually go do some stuff while we're there. So recently we decided to take a little weekend getaway, take the kids up there, go have some fun. And one thing I discovered, this was actually on the drive up to Pigeon Forge, I discovered that there are so many cars sitting on the side of the road, and I wanted to stop and show you guys some of these things that are sitting there. You know, I'm barely scratching the surface here. I didn't want to get too far into people's yards or anything like that. I just pretty much, if I saw something that was highly visible from the road, I'd pull in there and take some video. So I wanted to show you guys just a glimpse of some of these cars that are just scattered all over the place here in eastern Tennessee. We're starting off our roadside finds with a pair of 1957 Chevrolet Bel Air two-door hardtops. Now, both of these cars are a little bit rough. The one out here in front of the building is pretty rusty. You can see that door skin has come loose. There's quite a bit of rust on the outside of the body, which usually leads to rust underneath. But still, you know, this thing is kind of hanging together. It's got an engine in it. It's got a lot of parts here, a lot of trim and things like that. And you can see right here on this windshield that it's actually got an inspection sticker. Let's see what it says right here. It says safety inspection, $6, Knoxville, Tennessee, 1967. Now that's a really cool decal that's still surviving right here on the center of that cracked windshield. Now the other 57 that's sitting around the side of the building, it looks a little more complete as far as the body panels, but you can see that the glass is gone, and you can see there's a lot of missing trim pieces on this one. Our next stop included three very unique cars that really got my attention. It was definitely something I needed to pull over and get some videos of. First is a little Studebaker two-door station wagon. Now these things are getting to be pretty rare because people just didn't care enough about them to hang on to them. And this one being a two-door is even more rare. And you can see it's got a little bit of rust here and there. It's not completely perfect, but it's definitely a very buildable car. Sitting next to it is a pair of 1960 Cadillacs. Now this first one is pretty conventional. This is just your standard four-door, but the one next to it is a pretty wild creation. And I don't know if you want to call it an El Camino or if there's a fancier name since this is a Cadillac, but somebody has shortened up that roof. You can see they retained the back glass, but they just shortened the roof line up and then made sort of a truck bed back here. Even though there's no floor, you kind of get the idea. And you know, this is just a wild custom creation, and I could see this being a really cool rat rod, or you know, if somebody really slicked it up, put some metal flake paint on it and some wide white walls, and it would be a super cool custom. I also had to make a quick stop at Garner Automotive to see what Gary was working on. He's always got some kind of cool project inside or outside of the shop. And this time around, he had a third generation Camaro sitting out there and a Chevy Malibu drag car project. By far, my favorite roadside find was this Dodge Avenger funny car body. And it seems like I always run across stuff like this everywhere I go. And this one actually has a local connection to me because this car was based out of Dayton, Tennessee, not too long ago, maybe 10 years ago or so. And it was campaigned by Larry Roddy. I could see some of the remnants of some of those decals, like Chuck's Pro Chassis. I could see some of the decals remaining as far as what it said on the side, which was the Holy Ghost. And, you know, I could just see a few of the remnants of what this car was back just a few years ago. So it's cool to see that it's still surviving. It looks like it could be put to use pretty easily with just a little bit of fiberglass work here and there and a fresh paint job. And this is really the stuff I like to see. When you can find an old drag car or a piece of a drag car that's got some local history, that's always a good thing. Here's another stop in Maryville, Tennessee, this time on Highway 321, headed towards the Smoky Mountains. This is Destiny Used Cars, and it's not your average used car lot. As you can see, there's a pretty wide selection of classic cars and hot rods, muscle cars, classic trucks, rat rods, everything you can think of right here in a car lot. And as you can see, they got a little bit of everything, like this Ford Pinto. It's a little scraped up here and there, but it's got some weld wheels on it and a cool little spoiler. And then back in behind here, Chevy Suburban with some big old wheels on it. And then this extremely cool rollback. This looks like it's based off about a 33 or 34 Ford truck. And as we make our way through, we got a killer Super Sport El Camino. And we got a 53 or maybe a 54. Looks like a, yeah, it says right there, 53 right on the side of it. 53 Chevrolet sedan delivery, Pro Street, pretty cool. Then we got a Studebaker. It's got a good looking set of, looks like some 17-inch wheels. Pretty slick paint job on here. Definitely an obscure car from the early 60s. Then we got a, looks like an early 50s Ford, maybe a 52 or 3. About a 59 Ford, mild custom, lowered down a little bit with some white walls. Another Ford custom, this time a little more customized, more body mods, and wide white walls, of course. 58 Chevrolet, it looks like maybe a Bel Air or Biscayne, not quite as much chrome as the Impala. And we're finishing off this line with a late 40s Chevrolet, chop top, Pro Street. It's got all the elements of like a 1990s type build that you would have seen in Pigeon Forge on a pretty regular basis. On the back row here, we got a little hot rod coupe, another Super Sport El Camino, and what appears to be about a 59 or 60 model Pontiac Catalina. Here's another cool combination of vehicles as we're headed into Pigeon Forge off of Wares Valley Road. We're starting off with a 30s Ford pickup truck, and this thing looks a little rough. You know, it's got a little bit of rust, the paint's flaking, and the tires look a little rough, but I can see that this thing has got some pretty good parts on it. You can see through the grill it's got aluminum radiator and electric fan, and I could actually see a little bit through the hood side that it had aluminum heads on that flathead V8. This is a pretty cool truck. This looks like something you could actually get in and drive. Now the other two vehicles in this lot, they look a little bit more like static display. We've got a Studebaker that's painted up like a police car, and on the other side of it here, it looks to be maybe a late 30s or early 40s Dodge pickup. This combination of vehicles definitely wins the award for the most photogenic because everywhere you turn, you've got a view of the Smoky Mountains. So lots of great pictures and videos are taken right here in this spot. Then if you turn around from this exact same spot, there's a late 40s or early 50s Chevrolet truck that's hoisted way up in the air, and it's used as a sign for a pancake house. And here's another picturesque roadside find. This time it's a 1956 Oldsmobile two-door sedan, and it's parked right next to this old barn. Again, you can see the mountains in the background. It's just a super cool setting. It really does stop you in your tracks. If you're driving to Pigeon Forge, you got to stop and take a look at this car. And what I found once I got out and took a closer look is that this thing has been patched up. You can see that the chrome bumpers have been painted silver. You know, this car has had a paint job on it to kind of freshen it up. There's definitely some pieces on this car that need some attention, but overall, it did the job. It got me to stop and pull off the road. And when I did, I noticed that across the street, there was a little car lot, again, focusing on specialty and collector cars. So I saw an old Chevelle over there and a few other cool things that caught my attention. But it was this Oldsmobile that really got me to stop. So I hope you enjoyed these roadside finds we spotted on the way to and from Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. This is just scratching the surface of the cars and trucks and things that we see on a regular basis around here. So I wanted to be able to show it to you guys, not to brag, not to say that we got more cool stuff than other people do, but I just wanted to show off some of these things that we're surrounded by on a daily basis. And you know, some of these things are posed, some of them are just in their natural habitat, but they're all cool. So thank you for watching. We'll see you next week.